So my background is a lot non-traditional. I grew up in New Hampshire, and I moved to New York City when I was 18 to pursue a career in the theater. And I graduated from NYU with a degree in experimental theater. And for those of you who know what experimental theater is, it's non-traditional applications of theatrical components in nonlinear environments, sound, collage, exploration, movement theater, street performance, all the weird stuff that doesn't really usually happen inside of a theater. And so I pretty quickly realized that that skill set was highly unmarketable for long-term financial success. And so I looked across my skill set and what I loved to do, and I realized that although I loved theater, I really loved technology. And I really loved helping people solve problems. And I really loved figuring out how things fit together and making recommendations and telling people what to do. And so that's what I do at Bunchball now. I found my way across the country from New York City to here about 10 years ago. And I started working in technology and working with customers as a customer advocate, then as a sales rep, and then doing business development. And I always kept getting pulled into the technology side, translating what the technology does to the business people, helping the business people understand why the technology works in the way it does and how it works to achieve their business goals. And so the role that I'm in now is exactly that. So digital strategy, which is my role, is helping people figure out how to use this gamification stuff in a very serious way to solve business challenges. So that's all the stuff I'm going to talk about tonight is not fun, it's not frivolous, it's getting work done. And that's exactly what I do on a daily basis. Okay, any questions about me or...
What's your title, Mollie?
VP of Digital Strategy.
And would you share your Twitter handle?
Yes, it's at Kittle, M-O-L-K-I-T-T-L-E.
Repeat that again, please.
Yeah, at Moll, M-O-L, Kittle, K-I-T-T-L-E. And then you can search on gamification or Bunchball, B-U-N-C-H-B-A-L-L. What else? I think that's it. Okay, so you asked me to focus in on some of the more enterprise examples, so I'm going to do that tonight. We work with two different types of clients, so consumer-facing, media and entertainment companies like NBC, CBS, Comcast. They have content, and they're trying to get people to consume that content online. A lot of times they'll create communities to keep people interacting with that content more often and more frequently, and to create attachment and stickiness around that content. And so those people are trying to increase KPIs like time on site, page views, because they're all ad driven, and they're trying to drive revenue selling advertising. And then the other side of our business is working with companies like SAP, Cisco, and helping them motivate their employees and their workforce. So leveraging these things to help employees do better and get real-time feedback, find direction, complete training and certification, all that stuff. So I'm going to focus more on that side of the business tonight. But if you do at the end want me to dive into some of our consumer client examples, I can do that too. The core of why game mechanics work and why people are compelled to play games is that they tap into 5 core areas that motivate people. And those are autonomy, mastery, relatedness, purpose, and progress. And so before we even talk about games or gamification, I want to talk about why those things motivate people to do the things that they do. So, autonomy. This idea that we are in control of our own destiny, we have choice. You think about the Tom Sawyer example of whitewashing the fence. Work, in his case, was able to be reframed to sound like something enjoyable. He's outside painting, it's a beautiful summer day, his friends come by, they start making fun of him and they say, "Tom, you fool, why won't you come out and play with us? We're having so much fun." And he said, "Oh no, I'm the one having fun, look it. I get to whitewash this whole fence, it's great, my aunt has entrusted me with this very important task." And he convinces them to do the job for him because he's reframed work as something enjoyable. So when we talk about, later on, gamification in the workplace, we're not talking about changing the fundamental core work that people are doing. People need to do their jobs. We're talking about how do you make work a more the same work a more pleasurable experience? How do you frame it in a different way? Spreadsheets are going to be spreadsheets, but if you can create a situation where spreadsheets are involved in a more rich environment or in a more feedback-oriented environment, then you're going to fundamentally change the way that work feels to somebody. I think another piece about the autonomy is that work is something that you're obligated to do, and play is something that you choose to do. So if you reframe the conversation so it feels like you're choosing to do the work, then you're satisfying that internal desire for autonomy. Mastery is also very related to a feeling of accomplishment and success. So anytime you think of a skill or a sport that you've mastered, it's not about reaching an ultimate where you never get any better. It's about constantly having to hone your skill set, to master something, to feel like you're working toward excellence and you're maintaining that skill. Professors Deci and Ryan out of Rochester, they talk about the self-determination theory, so that you are mastery, autonomy, and relatedness are the three core components of that. So the first three things I'm going to talk about. If you want to learn more about them, you can look at their research. And I have a bunch of follow-up materials for you too, if this is stuff that's interesting.
We can post it on our Facebook page and on our blog.
Yes, absolutely. Relatedness, we're social beings. I think you probably have talked a lot about this in your class, that we need each other. And whether or not we're social in the real world, or whether we're social in a virtual world, sending each other virtual roses, we are social. And so we want to see how we fit in. We want to understand how we compare to the people around us. I think one of the things that you probably think about when you think of games is you think of competition. And we're seeing more and more, the data show that it's not really about competition, it's about comparatition. It's about me in relationship to others, and sometimes it's about me being better, and sometimes it's just me understanding where I fit in.